computer because I remembered. Shelby's like, Hey, Ashley, what's up? I'll just mute you. Hold on. Hey, Ashley, can you mute yourself? Or mute yourself? Okay, somebody else. Oh, Brittany, yours. I'm muting you. Sorry. So, all right, let me dive into this. I'm going to share my screen here. Get rid of this. I'll go over that later. I'll move that aside. All right. Let's do this. And wait, where's my little present button? And there it is. Come on, let's go. Standard present. I don't know why. There we go. Okay. All right. You guys are all with me. Let's keep going here. So how many of you, and just, I have a few of you on my top banner here, just like go ahead and nod your head. If you ever thought that, my gosh, you know, eating healthy is just going to be so expensive, right? And maybe you're like, oh, I have to buy everything organic. I don't really know where to go. I probably have to go to Whole Foods. That's probably where it's gotta be. Not the case. So I'm just gonna dive in a little bit here of some things that I was comparing across a couple of different grocery stores. Obviously, I myself have personally bounced around to different grocery stores, just depending on what I feel like. Most of the time, I just want to see what new stuff is at each place. But I will say number one, the cheapest store I have came across for grocery shopping is Aldi's. Unless you are somebody with a Costco membership, Sam's Club, whatever that is, and you can buy in bulk and save a lot more that way. By all means, that probably might be the cheapest for you. But for me, I know that Aldi is fairly cheap and I can get nearly everything that I want to eat there. I'm not a huge fan of their meats, so I do shop at a couple different spots to get that. But overall, Aldi's, you gotta go. So let's dive in here. I'm not sure why it's animated because there's nothing like. All right, so I just made a quick list of my typical, like just for you guys, just my typical healthy meal grocery list. So carbohydrates, I'm gonna pick fruits. I'm gonna go get fresh fruits. I'm gonna get some fresh vegetables, whether that's, you know, broccoli, that's cucumber, carrots. I love to like dip those in things. My gosh, peppers, I can go on and on, but that's where I usually start. And this is also, I'm kind of like giving you an idea of how I navigate into the grocery store of where I start. I want to start there so I get all of my stuff mostly fresh, right? And then a sprouted bread of some sort, English muffin. I'm big on English muffins. I don't know, I just can't not. Rice is a good go-to, and I mix that up between basmati and jasmine. There's a lot of different kinds. Honestly, I don't have a huge preference, but usually look for those. Gluten-free pasta of some sort. I'm not actually really a huge pasta person, but if and when I ever do want to make pasta, I'll either do something like that, or lately I've been finding butternut squash ravioli, some just like little things like that. That's what I'd rather eat than just straight pasta. But sweet potatoes, any kind of potatoes, honestly, pancake mix, dried fruit, put those on salads, eat them with my mixed nuts, things like that. Tortilla wraps, tortilla chips. Big weakness right there. Protein, I look for primarily lean protein. I'll go through phases, but usually I'll pick 99% lean turkey and also get a 93%. They cook a little bit differently, obviously with the more fat concentrated in there, if that's what you want, but they do cook a lot differently. So 90% beef. I have been on a bison kick before, but I haven't recently got bison, so I could add that on here too. Eggs, egg whites, Greek yogurt, high quality deli meat for little wraps, chicken, protein bars, which I usually get those at gas stations a lot of times, but bone broth, And collagen, Kodiak cakes, turkey bacon. I mean, I could name numerous things, but these are typically my go-tos that I look for when I'm trying to hit something in the grocery store to fill out my protein. Fats, you also get fats from your meat, so I just wanted to put that first one up there. If you get 85%, 93, you're getting a little bit, but you can get a lot of fats from the meats that you eat as well. Eggs, avocado, coconut oil. You can even go ghee. You can do macadamia nut oil. There's so many different oils out there. Extra virgin olive oil, nut butters, flax seeds, whole nuts, cheese. I'm not really big on cheese, but I'll go for the goat cheese, feta cheese. Sometimes that Munster. Sometimes I like to grab that. And those are some fatty sources for me as well. Nut milk, not really, but I guess we can consider it. And creamers. So if you use creamers for your coffees, whatever. Maybe you put in your oatmeal. I don't know. Oh, I forgot to put oatmeal in there, but oatmeal is a big one. So these are just some stores I threw out that are typically low priced food options. You have your Walmart, and you're not going to have all these things around you depending on where you live. If you're, from the country, might not have a Fresh Thyme around you, even Trader Joe's, Costco, whatever. So just kind of pulling some things around. You can shop pretty cheap at Walmart. Like I could even pull up on there. I have it on an open web page, but their prices are kind of like mid-price between what I was finding at Fresh Thyme and Aldi. Walmart was like semi in between there. They just don't have as much organic stuff. So when I dive a little bit later on here, just a quick clean 15 dirty dozen, they just don't have a lot of organic options. And that when they do, it's not as good priced as these other two options here. And Aldi's has gluten-free, they have organic, non-GMO. So if you're fearful that, oh, they're just gonna have your standard stuff, maybe just Jif peanut butter, they are so much more, I would say, up to date than when they used to be. So so just pulled together from a couple of those. I was looking at fresh fruit wise. I'm looking here at organic price. You can get them for 65 cents for a pound. And that's fairly good. So I can't remember which that one was at, but definitely I was looking at what I said, Aldi's, Fresh Thyme, and then I was also comparing between Walmart. And Costco, like again, I said, it's hard to compare prices because you get it in such huger bulk. So, I mean, honestly, I can't compare that right now, but I know you can save a heck of a lot at Costco. Even getting organic apples, blueberries, what have you. I mean, look at the price there for, I mean, you're not going to get a pound of blueberries, but regardless, like, I mean, the prices are fairly cheap. You get $3.99 for an entire 3-pound bag. So that's pretty good. I'm pretty sure that one was actually at Fresh Thyme. And there's some carb sources, right? I should have just totaled this up of what your average like carb could be. I'll do that. Actually, I know somebody who has put together a lot of lists, and I'll share you guys stuff with her. She does really good about going shopping and breaking down how much she spent on like all of her carb items, her protein, and she likes to share that with people to see like, hey, you could shop at Walmart and you could get about this much for most of your staples. So I can definitely share that with you too. But sweet potatoes or any type of potato. This one here, I'm pretty sure was Aldi's, and it was about 5 cents per ounce. So, I mean, that's pretty good. Some of those can be beefy though. Be careful which sweet potato you pick up because those things can be huge. And I'm talking like a 7-ounce potato, and that's a little bit more than you should probably eat in one sitting. So just saying, pick your potatoes carefully. And yes, you should be hand picking them if you're that type of person. And washing them, now that we know that we have a way that we can wash these with last week's thing, do that too. Rice, it was $3.25 for a 32-ounce bag, fairly cheap, under $5. Brussels, I was just pulling one random thing, and they're 18 cents for an ounce. And I didn't want to do the standard broccoli because, like, whatever, we can eat more than just broccoli, right? So let's do Brussels. Fats, organic avocados, they're 90 cents each. It doesn't really give a weight for some of those, but pasture raised eggs, and these ones are specifically pasture raised, and I think it is the Primal Farmers or something. I love their eggs. You can just so tell the difference between that egg yolk and just a regular, even a cage-free egg, or even just a standard like brown egg. Like there's a huge difference. That yolk is so deep yellow. It's almost like orange, like a amazing sunset. So there's reasons for that. Pasture aids, they're in the sun more. They get more vitamin D. We get their vitamin D. We are much better because we are humans who are inside a lot. We don't get a lot of vitamin D. So quick little blurb right there. Try to get pasture raised if you can. And they are less than $5. They're a little bit more expensive than some of your other eggs. But again, I'd rather spend that. Almond butter. Almond butters can be pretty expensive. Literally just bought one today, Justin's brand. It's like almost $11. So here is at Aldi's, you can get almond butter for nearly half that price. Again, why Aldi's is the shit, and you can get a lot of pretty cheap stuff there. Meats. So this is at Aldi's, obviously. This is their brand. This is their grass-fed ground beef, and that's a pretty price tag for a pound, but you're getting organic and you're getting grass-fed, and you are not going to get that good of a price anywhere else. I'm not guaranteeing that, but I'm just saying. High quality deli meat. This is $3.98 usually for a pound, which a pound can last you a good 2 weeks. As long as you're not having some every single day. But this tub of non-fat Greek yogurt, here's like the protein sources too. $3.69. This is at Aldi's as well. Friendly Farms is their brand. And so I just dropped a bunch of little things on here. So basically meats you could be looking for when you're going to go grocery shopping. So I guess this is almost like a guide to grocery shopping as well. Look for grass-fed if you can, beef and bison. And these are just some good options here too. So I'll also send you this document as well so you can take screenshots and save some of these next time you go to the grocery store, maybe to try some new things or things that you forgot about. I mean, you can forget about a vegetable. You're like, oh yeah, I forgot about this. Haven't had those in like a year. So, and I'm not big on fish either, so I probably won't talk about fish very much. So I like that I pulled this together because I don't talk about that much. But ground turkey, pork chops, pork tenderloin, wild-caught fish, shrimp, scallops, nitrate-free bacon, which is hard to find, high-quality deli meat, pasture, cage-free eggs, produce, avocados, arugula, eggplant, green beans, mushrooms, radishes, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to read all this, every single thing, but don't forget about your veggies. Literally just walk through that produce section and just be like, oh, what is that? What is that? Forgot about that. Oh, I can make that with something. Maybe. I don't know. I'm going to buy it and see what I can throw together with it. Who knows? So pantry staples. And that's just, I just thought I'd throw this in here for you guys. Himalayan pink salt, garlic, just mostly the Himalayan pink salt. Don't use your standard table salt. Like just leave that back in like the, I want to say leave it in like the 90s, but I feel like we were all at that point in time, we were just like salt on everything and it was always table salt. So opt for pink Himalayan salt. Can't really tell you off the top of my head the benefits of it. I forget, but I feel like it has to do with absorption. You get more like the natural, because it's more natural, right? It's Himalayan. So you get the natural salt rather than whatever the stuff is that we have on our countertops. Everything but the bagel seasoning. That's a good one. That's at Trader Joe's, by the way. So if you're wondering. Liquids, bone broth, coconut aminos, which are amazing. Replacement for soy sauce, just trying to eliminate that soy in our diet as well. EVOO, balsamic vinegar, coconut oil, and MCT oil. Powders, could be your protein, your vegan protein, whatever protein powder that you have. Collagen, if you're wanting to use that, it's up to you. It does help with a lot of different things, but pancake mix, almond and coconut flour and coconut sugar. I use these as like these are my baking essentials. I do have like an all-purpose flour, and I believe it's Bob's Red Mill or something, the same brand that I use my gluten-free oats with. He has a lot of cooking powders and or baking powders and things like that I like to use of his, and they're pretty good price too, like not super expensive. So just a little note on food quality: minimize the stuff out of packages, avoid the processed junks. Food can either be the most potent form of medicine or the slowest form of poison. So take pride in what we put in our pie hole. And I got this from a ebook that I downloaded from the same girl that I told you she is an influencer. I want to say she's an influencer, but she's actually like a renowned nutritionist. So she puts together things like this, and I got her ebook, and it's just really awesome. So I thought I'd share some pages with you from that as well. And she says cheap meat may come from unhealthy animals that may negatively impact our hormones. We talk about this too. Conventional animals are often pumped with growth hormone or icky chemicals. Cheap eggs may be chickens fed low quality feed, and so on. And then pesticides can be a major hormone disruptor. So try to buy high quality meat, eggs, and organic produce as much as possible. I'll give some tips on that later, but just try to opt for the things that you at least put in your mouth most of the time, your staples. Try to make your staples as clean as you can. Frozen fruit, yeah, so I'll talk about this later. Just some ideas here of things that you can put in the freezer for longevity, not for longevity, but so longer life you can have it, to try to save money too, so it just doesn't go bad if you keep it in your fridge thinking you're going to use it and you're really not. So here are the dirty dozen, which are a list of contaminated with high levels of pesticides. Like if money is tight, but if you can try to buy organic from these, that's your best option. But organic doesn't mean that it's like free of chemicals either. So there are still some ways that chemicals and stuff like that can slip into organic foods as well. But these are the dirty dozen: apples, celery, cherries, grapes, nectarines. Okay, let's just call them oranges. I don't know. Peaches, pears, potatoes, spinach, strawberries, bell peppers, and tomatoes. And if I'm looking at this list right now, these are primarily my staples that I literally, like, I'm looking at to pick from right at that fresh produce. So it's really hard for me to remember these, but I tried to think of what are the things that people grab the easiest, like when you're walking around here. And I just think of like, oh, apples. Everybody wants apples. They're always touching apples and picking them. Pears, same thing with bananas. So I sometimes think bananas are on here. They're not, but I always buy organic bananas just because, I don't know. I buy one organic banana and then I'll buy like the other rack just regular. I don't know why I do that. But I just kind of think bananas are just kind of like, everybody's like touching them, whatever. So here are your dirty dozen. I don't really think people are just touching spinach, so that doesn't really apply to that one, just saying. And then the clean 15. So the clean 15 is produce items that can typically contain the least amount of pesticides. You don't have to necessarily get organic from these because they are typically cleaner, right? So if you're trying to save money here, maybe just get these non-organic, potentially, who knows, and then clean it with thieves or whatever. But asparagus, avocados, broccoli, cabbage, cantaloupe, cauliflower, eggplant. I feel like that was on the other one too. Kiwi, onion, mango, papaya, pineapple, sweet corn, and sweet peas. And I'm talking to you guys about this because I didn't know about some of these things, even sprouts, until later on, but wanted you to know about having happy hormones and eating crucifers, I think that's how you say it, vegetables to balance hormones and our liver. So recommend eating these pretty much on the regular, right? These should be like some of your like, maybe in most of your meals, like maybe 3 to 4 meals throughout the week, something like that. So some of these I haven't heard of and haven't really used. So anyways, what am I going to say here? I'm just going to call this DIM, D-I-M. I've been looking into DIM a lot as it helps with hormones as well, but it works to help with balancing your estrogen among many other things. And DIM is found in these types of vegetables. Just like we have good and bad cholesterol, we have good and bad estrogen in our body too. So just kind of helping balance that estrogen that we do have, and by doing it naturally. So arugula, bok choy, broccoli, broccolini, Brussels sprouts, cabbage, cauliflower, collard greens, kale, I don't know, kohlrabi, I've never heard of that. Maca, I've heard of maca root, but maybe that's some maca powder people are using their latte, I don't know. Mizuna, never heard of that one again. Mustard greens, I think I accidentally bought that one time. It was really gross. Radish, rutabaga, I'm not even gonna read that. Turnip and watercress. So some of these I do feel like I eat on the pretty much the regular, and then I'm like, others, I'm No, I don't. So maybe I should do a better job of getting like more diverse there. But sprouts, I've been implementing sprouts a lot. I love throwing these in salads and things like that, but there are other nutritional hormone helpers that we eat. They can be 20 to 150 times more nutrient dense than their full grown plant counterparts. Whoa. So sprouts contain natural enzymes that break down toxins. Radish sprouts are great at counteracting plastic exposure, for example, while broccoli sprouts contain whatever and are great for liver detoxification and glutathione production. I don't know what that one is off the top of my head. Usually you'll find them in the refrigerated section. These are expensive. Yeah, so this is not balling on a budget. This is just taking my health to a different route. This is like on the same spectrum as seed cycling for me. And this is kind of implementing sprouts. I would say bone broth too, or things I've started circling in to spend a little bit more because I know it's going to pay off. So this is not balling on a budget. These are kind of expensive. But alfalfa sprouts, broccoli sprouts, clover sprouts, radish sprouts, and sunflower sprouts. I have not seen the bottom three. I don't think I've had the bottom three, or maybe I haven't even seen them at Kroger. I feel like I usually see them at Kroger and Giant Eagle, but I've never seen those last three ones, nor have I tried them. But the other two, I like them. I'll even put them on my omelet sometimes too, just to like throw a little pizzazz on it, whatever. But so here's just a little cheat sheet for protein, and we're talking about a 4-ounce portion here. I'm not going to read all these to you, just kind of want you guys to see this. You can also, like I said, I'll give you the document for this. You can kind of snag some of these so you have a little like cheat sheet. Maybe you can, I don't know, hang this up on your fridge, save it in your phone. So you're like, oh yeah, if I'm looking for something that has protein and a little bit of fat, or I want something that has, I want to get something with protein and pretty good fat in it. So I'll usually hit my fats with that one, or maybe I just want something that's pretty much straight protein, don't want anything else from it. And that's kind of where these boil down to as well. So, and carbohydrates, just classifying them as what they are. Fruits and berries, usually these are, she's saying these are 100-gram serving sizes here, just like what they represent as far as carbs. So you will see that, what is it? Blackberries contain the least amount of carbs. That makes sense. I always knew bananas were a lot more, and grapes. But so remember, that's those grapes that you eat add up as far as carbs go, because they're about, let's just say about 20 for 100 grams of grapes. And some of those suckers can be big, right? So 100 grams, that'll add up fast with those big suckers. Fruits and squash, just throwing these ones out here. I would say zucchini, yeah. Your zucchini is going to be the fairly like lowest carb option. You'll have spaghetti squash, super low. Really good season for butternut right now, acorn. Good season for that. Those are like more of the fall. I guess we're not in fall, but still fall vegetables or whatever. So that's another thing, is to try to buy your produce in whatever season that is there. That could be something I could talk about another time too, but just buying a fruit or a vegetable in their actual growing season. Like right now, bananas, they're not in season where we're at. So these are usually bananas that are shipped from somewhere that it's in growing season. How long are they on that truck that they're trying to get here? Maybe it's even out of the country. That banana has traveled a lot before it got to your hands right at the grocery store. So just remember that as well. And then some rice options here: quinoa, pasta, gluten-free oats, blah, blah, blah. Pretty good here. So your jasmine, your rice is going to pack up the most in a serving like that, but watch those sweet potatoes, 130 grams. That's probably like 3.5, maybe a 4 ounce. No, not 4 ounce. I would say maybe 3. I'm trying to guess based off of memory. I think maybe 3 or less ounces of a sweet potato, which isn't very big as what you see when you go to a restaurant and order a sweet potato, and it's just like huge. It's like your whole plate. And macro cheat sheets for fats. Basically, any of your oils or butters, even nut butters, are going to be around the same fat level for the serving size. They're all going to be about 2 tablespoons, or This says serving size 1 tablespoon, but I know these are, oh shoot, go back. Oh my gosh, oh, I skipped ahead. I know like for every, so like peanut butter, nut butter and all that is always going to be a 2 tablespoon serving size. So, and that's always going to be somewhere, I mean, just depending on what specific brand you got. But if you're looking at almond butter, it's going to generally be between, I would say 14 to 16, maybe even up to, if you get the ones that are honey in it as well, or vanilla or whatever, that can get up to 17, 18 grams of fat in it. But it'll always be pretty much the same. So think about it. If you're, because 2 tablespoons is about 14, 15 grams. So think of it as for every gram of fat that's, that's what I'm trying to say. Hold on. I gotta think about this. Because the serving size is 14 grams and there's 15 grams of fat in it. So what I'm trying to say is for every gram that fat you're taking is a gram. Oh my gosh, I don't know how to say this. Does this make sense to anybody? But like, okay, so say there's 14 grams in a serving. There's going to be 14 grams of fat. Boom. Okay, now I got it. So you see, it's like 1 for 1. Wow, it took me a while to figure out how to break that down. But it'll always be like 1 for 1. So whatever your serving size is in grams, that's going to be how many grams of fat you'll have from that. Pretty much across the board, that's your butters, oils, and nut butters as well. But that's why they have other products out there like reduced fat, peanut butter, or blah, blah, blah. I actually went to Fresh Thyme and I got their, like they grounded their own almonds that they had there for like a bulk sale or whatever. And I bought that and I saw the nutrition label off of that. It said that the fats were 11 grams per serving. And that was the lowest almond butter for grams that I've seen in a while. And I don't know if it's because I don't actually know why that was there, but they process it and make it themselves there. Whole Foods has the same thing. They do that as well too. You can buy nuts from their like, whatever that bulk section, and then you can go and put it in this little grinder and it makes your butter, nut butter. Cool stuff. But anyways, moving on. Don't forget there is fat and fiber in these items too as well. Some people don't think about it, like, oh, I'm going to put seeds on everything. But realize that is also fat as well. Adds fat calories. Just some fiber options here for you guys. If you're looking into, if you feel like you want to know if you get enough fiber in your meals, think about these things right here. You're eating on a pretty regular basis. Maybe it's every other day, maybe a couple times a week. That's still pretty decent amount of fiber. So, black bean pasta, black beans, lentils, sweet potato, chickpeas, raspberries, blackberries, avocado, RX bar. I don't really know about those bars, but chia seeds, gluten-free oats, bananas, flax seeds, all that stuff. And this is just a cheat sheet for the ground meat, what it typically looks like. But like I said, you can pretty much, chicken's always going to be around 99%. Most of the time you'll see in the grocery store, it's always, I would say between 97 and 99% lean chicken out there. And then bison, it's really hard to find lean bison out there, but they do usually have the 85% on a pretty regular basis. But to find really lean ground bison is hard. But I was at the store today and I saw 90%. So I haven't seen a 96 around somewhere, at least in stock yet. But turkey, I sometimes will buy one of each of these fat levels. I don't really eat beef that much. So I don't know. That's there. Seafood, yeah, since I don't really eat this a lot, I'm gonna throw this on here for you guys too. Tuna, mahi-mahi, I will never eat probably any of these things, but shrimp, that's about it. I've tried salmon a couple times. I'm just not 100% in it yet. So, and these ones down here are gonna be your protein sources that also have a good amount of fats too. Like shrimp will have hardly any fat at all. So that would be just straight protein. And these ones will have some decent amount of healthy fats, I should say, because it is truly healthy fats. This is for any vegetarians out there that are worried about their protein sources. I have this for you. So here's where you can get some I guess you'd say protein out of these sources here. So hemp seeds, pumpkin seeds, chia seeds, flax seeds, sunflower, can go into your beans. Those are a group of beans that you can get it from, which is why they typically eat a lot of beans too. Nuts and just some miscellaneous, quinoa, brown rice, white rice, green peas, or should I say green beans? I don't know, lentils, but macadamia nuts are really good. Also Brazil nuts, if you guys haven't had those, I challenge you to venture into your nuts here, but I forgot all about Brazil nuts, and they're about that big. I don't know, they're really good, so forgot about those for a while. But hormone health veggies, again, for hormone balancing, just throw these in one more time, and then sprouts one more time, all those as well. So here are my little, like, I guess you'd say tips and tricks or whatever for grocery shopping, getting things to last a lot longer in your shelf, in your fridge, or whatever. So store meat in a freezer until you're ready to thaw it in the fridge, and let it thaw in the fridge. Don't leave it out to thaw. That's just more contamination, even though it's like wrapped up nice or whatever. Just don't do it out. Don't let it go through a sink, running water on it to thaw out. Just put it in the fridge. If you're planning ahead, you can put it in the fridge and use it. This is a big one I started doing for my bananas to keep them longer. When I see them start to turn to a mushy part where I just know I won't eat them because they're kind of mushy. So I try to get them before that state, and I'll chop them all up and I'll put them in a little baggie in the freezer. And now I have frozen little banana nickels I can put on top of my oatmeal if I want to, put them in smoothies, put them in pancakes, love to do that, on top of yogurt. So really great by keeping bananas a little bit longer. And I don't recommend thawing them out. Just don't do that. It's not the same. They just turn into like a water mush. So not the same at all. But keep wraps. So like my tortilla wraps, things like that, I'll keep them in the fridge to keep them a little bit longer. And my English muffins, I'll keep them in there as well. And bread too sometimes. If I feel like it's going to take me a while to go through that loaf, I'm like, well, I'm just going to go ahead and put it in the fridge to just try to keep it just a little bit longer. And berries in the freezer to snack on. I kind of mentioned that earlier, but my blueberries, I usually just keep them in the freezer. I used to buy 2 little packs. Like I think you can get little packs of them. One I would keep in the fridge, one I would keep in the freezer. And the one in the freezer would always be like my snacking ones. I just always loved, especially in the summertime, that's a really good summer snack for you, is to just get out some frozen blueberries. And just, they're so good. Cook all meat and keep it in like a glass container, like for leftovers that you can use in meals. So if you're worried that you might not be able to get through your meat that you have in the fridge, just go ahead, cook it all, meal prep if you want to call it. Cook it all so you can just keep it as a leftover and just fork it into meals as you go throughout the rest of your week. So avoiding meat going bad. Same thing with potatoes. Rice will probably never go bad. I mean, you can keep rice for a good while. But if you want to, just to have it more easily accessible too, just cook it all up in bulk and then store it and use as needed. Potatoes can go bad. And honestly, I'll eat potatoes to the point where they have that, it's almost like a root is like busting out of a potato. I will still eat them up to that point and like cook them, but I know a boyfriend, he thinks they're gross. He's like, that means they're dead. They're done. I'm like, no. These things can still go. I'm going to just rip those off. I'm going to chop it up and throw it in the air fryer. So they're still good to go. But if you're somebody that doesn't want to wait that long when they're busting out new limbs, then just go ahead and cook up all your potatoes ahead of time, put them in the fridge, and those can be reheated as you want to use them if you want to heat them up. Or if it's cold potatoes, you can also, little hack to carb up your salad a little bit, throw them on your salad. I'll do that from time to time. I'll air fry sweet potato into little tiny dices and put it in my salad. So there I got my carb with my salad as well. Because I'm one of those people that just love salads. And I think, Brittany, you shared something the other day. You're like, can we all just like respect somebody that just actually truly loves to order salads and just loves to eat it? Not that they're just trying to be bougie or whatever. I feel that 100%. I will literally order a salad almost every place I go, especially if it's lunch or dinner. I mean, hell no, I won't have a salad for breakfast, but I just always, I don't know, just love them. Just love them so much. Another note is to make your staples as clean and organic as you can, since you take those in on the most regular basis. Those are the foods that you're eating primarily every day. So why not make those like the cleanest that you can? I mean, that just makes sense to me, but you're taking in the most. That's the most impact into your body too. Buy majority of your groceries at the cheapest store and get the extra stuff. I have some typos in here, but get the extra stuff or the other brands that you want at certain stores. Just get them somewhere else, but try to get bulk of your groceries at the cheapest place you can. And like I said, for me, that's Aldi's. So for the most part, I will get nearly all my groceries at Aldi's, but the stuff that I don't like of theirs, like their meats and their fruit, kind of goes bad quickly sometimes. So I'll wait and I'll get that in a different grocery trip another time with somewhere else that I like their fruits or whatever. So shop local, farmers produce, or local markets, especially in the summertime. They have those, I think, in some cities. I know here in Columbus, there's a lot of different places that have local markets on the weekend where people can walk and get local produce from people. That is going to be cheap. And honestly, it's easier to do that out in the country. And that's kind of sad to say, but I feel like that's easier to do when you're not living in the city, because in the city, it's just so convenient to buy whatever is right next to you. So I will say I'm bad at this, but I tried to get better because grocery stores are catching on too of the impact of shopping local. So sometimes they'll have brands in their grocery stores, like right at the front of local produce or local things. And I tried to snag those ones when I do see them at the commercial grocery stores I'm at, but I do have a Fresh Time near me, and that's supposed to be like a farmer's market. So there's a lot more local stuff there. So buy meat in bulk from a local butcher. I have heard from people who successfully do this, and maybe I'm just not at that level yet and I really need to be, but they talk about how you can get such good meat, such good meat, support local farmers. And you have, if you can have a deep freezer where you can store it for a good period of time though, they say it just saves so much money to buy from a local butcher too. And you can literally ask for what portions or what part of that animal you want, which makes a nice like customer experience too. You can literally like pick what you want. Fresh will always, I don't want to say will always be cheaper, but fresh will typically be cheaper than processed. If you think about it, processed is more labor involved. Sometimes they can be cheaper too. Just, you got to find that, I don't know. I want to say some of them can be cheaper too because they add in cheaper ingredients, things like that, that makes processed foods cheaper. But for the most part, your fresh produce will be cheaper than your processed stuff. So if you're buying a sweet potato and you have a choice between a whole fresh sweet potato or the little packaged ones where you can, with a plastic film over it, and they got this cool glaze in there that once you heat it up, you can drizzle this glaze on. And oh, there's also like cinnamon and sugar like toppings in there. So like once you heat them up, they're little nuggets. They have some oil in there too. Once you heat them up, you can toss that stuff on there. That versus that, like you can buy the same amount of sweet potatoes, if not more, for the price you're going to pay for this packaged sweet potato that also comes with this extra stuff. So make your decision based off of that. Airtight glass. Why did I just write airtight glass containers? Ignore that line. I don't know what's going on there. Stores. So these are just some stores I pulled up. Aldi, Publix, Kroger, because Publix is around, I think more out west people have Publix. And that's the same thing as Kroger here. Giant Eagle, Fresh Time, Trader Joe's, wherever it is you primarily grocery shop, if they have a rewards thing, get on that as soon as possible. Like you can save so much money on groceries, and maybe not even just groceries, but if you're somebody that drives a lot, especially for work, put that money that you're saving from groceries into your gas, because I promise you, like shopping at Giant Eagle and Kroger, I don't know if Fresh Time has rewards. Maybe I don't go there enough to know, but those are the two that I shop at the most. And I get on their rewards, and I have saved so much money by just scanning that card when I go. So highly recommend, if you're really serious about balling on a budget, get on the rewards and start saving money, because it adds up a lot. And then last but not least, organic, gluten-free, non-GMO, or fresh doesn't have to be fairly expensive. Like I pointed out, you can go to Aldi and they have literally all of that stuff right there, and you can get it for half the price. I kid you not, when I get my groceries at Aldi's, I'm just always astounded by like how much I just spent compared to what I normally spend if I were to go to Giant Eagle. I'm just like, how did I get all of this for this? So that's super amazing. If you don't have an Aldi near you, man, you got to find something like it because they are bomb. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen right now and just kind of want to open up for questions or comments, anything you've experienced, where are your go-to places, whatever. Just go ahead and unmute yourself. Sorry, I don't see the chats very often. So, oh, salads are life, yeah. So anybody want to share anything at all before we go into the New Year's Eve stuff?
I highly suggest getting a wholesale club membership.
Yeah.
Because they're not that expensive. So like I live in Cleveland and I have 3 wholesale clubs in my area, Sam's, BJ's, and Costco. BJ's always has deals going with your first year is only $25 for a whole year.
Wow.
So if you're like a new member, like that is definitely like something I feel like everybody should look into.
Yeah.
Also, Costco is really good with their like, I think they're a little better than BJ's with their like produce and whatnot. And in the long run, you will walk out of there spending over $100, but you won't have to go grocery shopping for at least a good month.
For sure. 100% agree with that. I don't know why I'm not doing it yet. I've even walked in there with friends a couple times because I know you have to be a member to walk in, but I like sneakily walked in there and I was like, oh man, like you really get so much. I just haven't bit the bullet on it. And I'm not sure why. I can't give you an excuse, but you're absolutely right. I know that is a huge like money saver for sure.
I would say between the like Whole Food clubs, if you have to choose, put Sam's Club at the bottom because they don't have good quality meat. So if you're buying meat there, it's the same as Walmart's meat. It's not good. It's been on the shelf for like ever. But I've heard that Costco, their meat's like really good quality. Like their meat's up to like the same standards as like Giant Eagle.
I've heard that too. Yeah, I've heard good things about Costco.
I'm gonna say that I'm gonna advocate for being one of those people who buys their meat in bulk. Every year we pretty much buy either a quarter or a half cow and half or 2 half pigs and then like whole chickens. And if you are even anywhere near the country, you should get to know your local farmers. You can just find them on Facebook. You can like just look up bulk meat on Facebook and talk to them about what they have. We buy it from my husband's cousin who's up north of Marion, or up north of Columbus and Marion. And like his beef grades at prime and it's just really great quality meat. So,
oh my gosh,
and it's so much cheaper. It's so much cheaper. So it comes out to like, I don't know, like $3 a pound, even for like your ribeye steaks and your, the most expensive cuts of meat. It's like $3 a pound.
That's so good. Yeah. I need to look into that too. Thank you for throwing that out. I definitely need to do that. I actually sat and talked with a guy like a month ago, and he's a local butcher. He was trying to like learn my Instagram tactics. I'm not going to lie. It was like, I don't know why we're having this chat right now, but he ended up telling me all about like his business that he wants to start promoting, but he's a local farmer. And he's like, I need to know how to market on social media because people aren't hearing about local farmers on there. Like it's just not being reached. So, I do love that. I need to do it. I love having your guys like opinions and what you guys do, because it reminds me of like, oh my gosh, I need to do that too. So thank you for sharing all these ideas. I love it.
That and eggs too. Like we live out in BFE. So, but I mean, even if you live just anywhere near the country, like we buy our eggs are $2 a dozen and they're, like free range brown eggs. And it's like a mile from us. So, and we buy like 4 dozen at a time. It's great.
That's amazing. Yeah, that's definitely the cheapest. That beats my price that was on here. So there's your validation.
You said that you were gonna send us in like a doc, right? Because when I go and look for my eggs and everything, I like almost am like a deer in the headlights. Like, what's good? Okay, do I want to be like do I want to be cage free? Do I want to be pasteurized? Like, I know you said to get the pasteurized ones, but I feel like eggs are like the ones that are so indecisive because there's like 15 different types.
Right. So I talked about this maybe a couple months ago. I don't know. And when I posted on my Instagram, I had some people come at me being like, oh, well, like cage free isn't all that bad. So they kind of were giving different perspectives of it. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. Like, I get it. But in my mind and like the research that I've seen, I just think it would be better to have the animal you're consuming be able to move and eat, like get sunlight and not be trapped and stuck in its own poo where it can't move. You're literally eating an animal's stress hormones in that state. Like, are they exposed to like their feces? Like, and we're taking that into, so cage free says that they still can move around. I don't know the exact definitions of it, but cage free, they're still in a cage. They can have access to a pasture, I believe, but they're primarily in a cage. We don't really know what all that looks like, right? Like, how tight is this cage? How many are just all trapped in there like this? I actually really imagine them like this, like all next to each other. And then I forget what the other kinds, I mean, they're not going to say what they are, but if they don't label that it's cage free or free range is another thing you'll see. That means they have access to grass too. So pasture raised, free range, cage free, all those, they have more exposure to outdoors. So those are going to be your better options you're going to choose. And you can test this out for yourself. Just with the egg yolk thing, like I'll buy brands that I don't normally consume just to see what their eggs look like. And you pop it and you can see a difference. And if that's white or brown, that doesn't really matter. That just depends on the chicken, I guess. But you can definitely tell the egg yolks when you get free range or pasture raised. It's just so much darker yellow, or it's like more orange than it is yellow. But it's crazy because the standard egg we look at, if we throw a picture of a cracked egg on the internet anywhere, it's going to be bright yellow. But that's not really what they look like when they're out free range.
So this is going like way deep into it, but they're basically like my second mom and dad, but they live, like they own the property behind us, and they have an organic farm where they raise chickens and everything. And they have free range chickens, and which they still live in a cage, but it's a giant cage, and they actually move the cage every day. So they take the cage and they move it around the property every single day of the year so that those chickens get new scenery and fresh grass and everything to keep them happy. So like these farmers are going to like extreme lengths.
Yeah. Now, is that cage just what we'd call their shelter? So that's where they could go in the night or like whatever. So they don't necessarily get trapped in there, right? They have ability to get out when they need to.
Well, it is still a huge cage, but there's like, it's not like, I mean, they're not up against each other. They have so much room.
Yeah.
Like they have like, they do like the math on it that they can only put so many chickens in one cage so that they all have their own square footage or whatever.
Oh, that's so cool.
So, yeah.
That's awesome. I love to hear that. Absolutely. Anybody else?
I know you were talking about deep freezers. I honestly highly suggest investing in the deep freezer. During the pandemic when it first started, it was really hard to get them, but now since we're kind of really deep into it, they're popping up more. Literally, when getting a deep freezer, my monthly grocery bill has gone down significantly because I could buy more in bulk and save so much more money. So like all this stuff does sound like a lot of money at first, but in the end, it's going to be like, you will see a huge difference, especially because I own my house. So I have to really find ways to like cut corners and make ends meet.
Yeah.
Because with all those things, so I definitely highly suggest a deep freezer if you can fit one. They even have small ones that can fit in apartments.
Yeah, I think 'cause some of them are like blocky style, but then you can get those other long ones like where you can literally hide a dead body. So another
Yeah. Yeah, I just have like I think mine is 7.5 cubic feet. And it's not even like halfway full. So I could do a little better, but.
And if you're going to do that too, I mean, if you buy a cheap vacuum sealer, which you can get them pretty cheap, it like really helps the longevity of your meat too.
That's true.
So you can buy those, like you can buy like really large portions of meat at the store when it's on sale, and then you vacuum seal it into portions of like 2 or 3 or however many are in your household, and then you just thaw those one at a time.
That's a good idea too. I like that vacuum sealed idea. It's really good too. Awesome. Thank you guys. So let's dive into the last thing I want to just mention briefly or go over is we're going to be doing some goal setting. And I went on my Facebook group and talked about this and kind of introduced it, but I kind of want to go over this with you guys. So you'll have this kind of like homework until the end of the year, but honestly is just setting goals for ourselves here. I don't want you to get suckered into like, oh, New Year's resolutions. And then you don't really have a clear path on how you're going to get there. So I kind of created these 2 documents, or this one document here, to go to really like game plan what we want to achieve, how we're going to do it. And then I do just want to get Enneagram types for people. So I kind of want to update everybody's Enneagram type. There's tests. I think we talked about this a while ago, but I can go ahead and drop those links in there for the like free Enneagram test. Find out which type you are. But basically you're going to fill out these little bubbles here. Reflection 2020. What are 3 things that you've done well in 2020? Give yourself some grace here because y'all, we had a really crazy year. Some of you probably had the craziest things happen to you and you're like, I can't believe this is what happened in my year. But here I am and things are going really well now. Be nice to yourself. So 3 things that you've done well. We gotta give ourselves credit where credit is due. If we don't acknowledge things that we did well, we're gonna stay in that negative mindset of, oh, I didn't do that. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. No, you did some good things. Let's write it down. 3 things that you want to accomplish for the upcoming year. So 2021, that would make a huge impact in your life. Really sit down and dwell on these. And the reason I'm having you do this too is because I'm doing this for my business as well. Like I really want to game plan all this out, and this is the best way to do it. So I'm sharing this with you guys as well for your own personal development and reaching goals. So 3 things you want to accomplish that would make a huge impact in your life. Really, really get clear on these ideas that you have or these goals that you want. 3 things you want to stop doing that are draining your happiness in life. And I gave an example in that Facebook group when I went over this. For me, not that they're draining my life, but the things I just really need to stop doing would be scrolling through social media. I'm on there a lot for posting and all that, but I'll get into a rabbit hole where I'll just click on somebody and then I just start going and going and going. And then even if it's on the feed, I'll just like, oh, I'm getting ideas for what I want to talk about. And then it's not even about that anymore. I'm into whatever else. So it's wasting my time and really not creating much happiness either, because what am I getting out of it other than just like looking at somebody else's life? So for me, that is one thing for sure I'm going to stop doing. And the next would be overthinking, but I don't know when that's going to happen. I don't know how I can, that. All right, whatever. Moving on. So just hit those pages right there. I don't exactly know how you could fill this out yet. If there's a way we could do this on Word doc or PDF, somebody gave me some ideas about this, but I do want to see your guys's game plans, or at least maybe that first page. But this would be where you're going to create your quarterly goals to build up to your 1-year vision for 2021. So things that you want to implement. So like on the last page, the 3 things you would like to implement that is going to change your life, impact your life the most. That's kind of what goal you're going for. And we're going to create a clear vision to get there. So in these blocks is basically the quarters of the year. So by here, the last quarter should be the last few things that you need to be doing and checking off to get to those visions, those goals that you had. So this is like basically the building blocks of how we're going to do it. You're going to break it down to small groups. You need to accomplish all these in order to get to this one, to get to these goals you want to accomplish. Small little goals, small visions to get to this, blah, 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 brings you to this last one where when you cross this off at about this time next year, you have accomplished those things that you wanted because you set a clear path for doing so. So get creative with this, take some time. And whenever you guys finish these, just go ahead and, I don't know, send them, email them to me, whatever. I'm just curious to see where your guys' visions are for yourself. I know we talk a lot about health and fitness, right? All things like that, but there's a lot more to a person than just their health and fitness. It's their personality. It's the things that drive them. It's the things that make them wake up every single day. Their why. So just curious on your guys'. So if you want to share, go ahead, you can, but wanted to go over this real quick. So does anybody have any questions over that at all? And I think I dropped it in the WhatsApp before I got on here too. So it's in there if you want to download it. However you can fill it out. I'm not sure how you can do that, but if you find it.
What's your Enneagram type? What is that?
It's like it's basically like your personality type, right? So it's a different type of personality test that goes a lot deeper. I think girls earlier this week were talking about it. They had just taken a test, and you can have like one thing that you specifically are, like a number. So there's numbers, and then you have other characteristics you can have of other numbers, like their wings.
Oh, okay. All right. I was a little confused by that, but we're good now.
It's another type of, there's Myers-Briggs personality test, and then Enneagram type is like the two that people are basically drawing personality tests off of. Nope. All right. Well, I don't think I have anything else. Does anybody have anything else they want to share, say, whatever? Christmas is next week. Well, like this week, kind of. How exciting.
I leave for Florida on Wednesday, and
Yeah.
I haven't been packing.
Oh, that's fine.
So that'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm like the night before, like, oh.
But I did finish my Christmas gift. I've been quilting this blanket for the past like 3 weeks, and I finally stitched the last little piece.
Oh,
like 20 minutes before our Zoom.
That is awesome. What else? So just quilts, or what else can you do?
Well, it's not really a quilt. It's more or less, it's called Easy Quilt, and it's basically like pre-looped pieces of thread, and it's so easy. Like, I don't know, if you're just sitting there like listening to the TV, not necessarily watching, you can do it. But it's my first time ever like making something like that. So
is that similar to, is it called crochet? Where people make
no, because it does not require any tools. It's like literally just like using your hands. Like, I can show you. It's super easy, and right now it's on sale. Like, I've watched YouTube videos about it, and it's not cheap. But I got it for like half the price because it's on sale. So it's something you can do, and it's super warm.
Yeah.
It's like this, like.
Oh, okay. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, and that's
make scarves out of stuff like that. Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty long.
That's a blankie.
Yeah, it's a big blanket. I'm giving it to David because when he was in Toledo, someone broke into his apartment and stole every blanket, because that's what you do when you. So he has like 2 blankets.
Oh my gosh, I never heard that. You know what? I'm just gonna break into this house and steal every blanket. Now that
I mean, they stole electronics, but obviously they must have used the blankets to like wrap the electronics. I don't know.
Oh, smart, actually. Okay. Wonderful. Good stuff. I don't have anything else to say, actually. So on that note, I'll be talking to you guys anyways. Check-ins this week. We'll be ready. All right. You guys have a good night. Be safe. Take care. Get your morning movement in.
See ya.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.